Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to the 233rd edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by PWSA's number one fanboy, Jaden.
Yo. Howdy. G'day.
Nice, got 3 in. Wow.
How's it going?
And a 4th, wow. And John Cena, PTA's number one fanboy, a.k.a. Fitzy, a.k.a. Liam.
Hello.
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 We're back for the 6th year of Cinema Effect. Do you have any, Fitzy, any reflections on the break? How'd it feel? How's it feel to be back?
Yeah, it feels good.
You scrunched that piece of paper in anger.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Gotta
I don't know. I think
yeah.
that's what it sounded like. I think I personally enjoyed the break a bit too much this time.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think Jaden said to me a few weeks ago that he was missing. His Saturdays felt empty, right? And I definitely don't relate to that. Like I haven't thought about it much. Yeah.
But that's. I mean, I really appreciate Jaden saying that. But I'm with you where like my Saturday. No, well, actually, I guess I agree in the sense that my Saturdays felt empty and it felt glorious. I did some gaming, you know what I mean? It was like, oh shit, this is great. But it's all right. I feel like it's been a month since we recorded. I feel like that, I don't know. That feels about right. It feels about right. And once we get back into the groove, I'm sure I'll get over it. You know, I'm sure I'll get over having to be here. But we'll see. But I appreciate your positivity, Jaden. That's nice. It's great to know someone cares.
Yeah. It's good to know that I'm the only one that does.
It's fine. I didn't really pick you to be the glue here, you know?
What?
But
Well, what do you mean glue?
I don't know. I sort of pictured myself as more like like the last bastion if people were to leave, you know what I mean?
Right, sure.
But now it might be you at this point. By the end of it. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I doubt it.
Like I never
But,
pictured like a Jade and Andy combo like holding it down at some point.
I just feel like my Saturdays were far more boring in the morning. Especially when my family kicks up such a big shit about the show being on a Saturday. That like when it's not on, they're like, "Oh, I'm finally free. We can do whatever we want." You know?
Right.
And I'm like, "Well, they do nothing different anyway." It's like they're like, "Oh, it's such an oppressive thing that we can't make noise on the Saturday." And I'm like, but then Saturday rolls around when they can.
Do you ever retort with that?
Huh? No, I haven't. But next time they complain, I think I will.
I think you should. You should. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere else you get your podcasts. This week, the movie we're checking out is Conclave, which opened in the US on October 25th, 2024. It was directed by Edward Berger. The genre on IMDb said conspiracy thriller. Don't know how I feel about that. Was there a conspiracy afoot in Conclave?
How do you define a conspiracy?
Technically, I guess.
Yeah.
How so?
Well, like the John Lithgow thing is the conspiracy, I guess. The things that he like puts forth in the film, but
okay. John Lithgow's portion of the film is a conspiracy. I guess I'll accept that.
That wasn't rhetorical, by the way. How do you define conspiracy?
Oh shit. Well, yeah, I actually don't really know, to be honest. I feel like it's so caught up. My definition of it is so caught up in like the notion of a conspiracy theory, but it's not really what it is, though, is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Liam,
I think it's just like uncovering something that's, that's not that's out hidden. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
That's covered. Yeah, uncovering something that's covered.
Yeah, pulling back the curtain, if you will, exposing the truth or whatever. Yeah,
a secret plan by a group to do something.
Okay, all right. John Lithgow.
Can it be like by a person, or is it
the action of plotting or conspiring? So
plotting.
I guess it's got both.
Yeah. I think that makes sense.
By the way,
Anyways.
is it Lithgow or is it Lithgow? Because I sometimes...
Good question.
I think I used to... Like, people used to say Lithgow and I used to say Gow, but now I think it's like the opposite.
You say Gow and they say go.
No, I say go and they say Gow, because Zach's just gone and said Gow, which is like... Made me realize that I've like switched up.
Yeah.
So I used to say Gow. When my parents said go.
I say Gow, but like, dude, I've got no logical reasoning for that other than saying it. So
okay.
It really could be either way. We're going to say it a lot more too, so strap in. Synopsis says, when Cardinal Lawrence is tasked with leading one of the world's most secretive and ancient events, selecting a new pope, he finds himself at the center of a conspiracy that could shake the very foundation of the Catholic Church. Again, I don't know. Don't know about that. But anyway, it's fine. Jaden, Conclave, cinema experience, what do you think?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a film that I'll always enjoy, but never like get the maximum out of. I think, you know.
Yeah,
I do like this kind of dialogue heavy kind of political thrillers in a way, but like, yeah, I don't really get much more out of them other than just kind of the 2 hours of enjoyment that I do. I tried a bit more with this one, just obviously because we are reviewing it, and also because like, I don't know if the political angle brought any, like not political, sorry, the religious angle brought anything, and it did, I think. So that might have raised it above kind of its peers of the genre.
okay.
But yeah, pretty good and pretty standard in a way, I'd say.
Okay, didn't blow you away, but enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I think I was expecting it to blow me away, which is the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. It sounds like I'm pretty similar to you. Maybe liked it a bit more, but I was locked into the film. I really liked it, and I'd recommend it to basically anyone, except maybe diehard Catholics, who are, you know, anyone who's down, you know, to watch something and be kept guessing and entertained, and who thinks the idea of the subject matter and the central event of the conclave is interesting, which it definitely is, in my opinion. Performances are great. Production design, costume design's fantastic. Really high quality work from everyone. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I didn't. Yeah, I agree with you in that it wasn't like I'm not going to rave about it, but it's like the best thing I've seen. But I definitely enjoyed it, and it's an easy recommendation for me for sure. Fitzy.
Yeah, I think I'm the same, but I think it's pretty good, but I was extremely restless just in the cinema for this film. And
really,
I don't know if this is gonna sound dumb or whatever, but I feel like if I watched this movie on a computer, it would have been like twice as good. And I don't know why, because like for most films that doesn't apply, but for this,
David Lynch dies and you make that statement. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty heretical this week to say that, but I feel like if it was a good like over 2-day viewing, you know, 2 different sessions, and it was just like, you know, the first was like the first getting over the first third, and the rest was just like, you know, sucking in the kind of the juiciness of the conspiracy uncovering in the second session. It would have been a better experience, but like, I don't know, there was something about watching this type of film in the cinema that was just like made me very restless. I don't know, but
okay.
I don't exactly know why.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I do kind of get that, because this is the type of film that I would typically see on like a Thursday night at 7 p.m. on like TV, and I just like stay and watch it. Does it just feel like it's like in the wrong environment?
It definitely feels like a Netflix kind of thing to me. I mean, even in the film's kind of aesthetic, I think it's very like it feels like I'm seeing like a Netflix thumbnail when I look at the poster.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't feel any restlessness coming from you. You know, that I didn't feel that energy coming from my right in the cinema.
Oh yeah, I just contain myself. Well,
Yeah, sure.
Mm.
Oh god, I've been to the cinema. When like the person next to you is like literally like restless, like it must be in a different way to you, where they're fucking like really fidgeting, like really. I mean, I think I fidget a little bit, but I think I just do that anyway. But then, like, you know what I mean? You slouch and then you sit up and then, So you weren't that bad. I don't want to paint that picture or anything for the audience out there.
No, I was mentally restless. Not physically.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I want to start pretty broad, I guess, and sort of dive into a little bit of what Jan alluded to, and try and figure out, I don't know, what were some of our main takeaways of the film as it relates to its discussion of the church, religion in general, faith, anything like this. I feel like, because I don't know, I feel like you guys would have some interesting thoughts. I personally didn't find it very heavy-handed in any particular stance or message, other than that of one of sort of general open-mindedness and fairness, I think. I think it came from a certain place, the film, but I don't think it was like trying to spread the gospel of anything in particular. You know what I mean? But I'm not sure if you felt it was more critical than that, Jade, in what you brought up at the start, or if it had a stronger commentary than maybe I saw.
No, I think it's kind of the opposite of that. I don't think it's got a weaker commentary than I was expecting. I think the discussion of the films are very much like a discussion about the church of the time, and maybe even a couple of years ago, even in terms of like the progressive nature and like the kind of conservative portion as well, and like how the church is only moving forward. It kind of goes a bit beyond that at the end, but like I don't know, I was kind of expecting a bit more, especially with the way that I've seen like some of the like. I was reading like some like Catholic reviews, and like pastors and like the Catholic press and all that shit, and the way they're going about it. I was kind of expecting a bit more. Yeah, I was expecting a bit more critique, but I think it's a very fair kind of depiction of the church, and I think like there's nothing really outrageous to kind of warrant some of like the. Like I say some, and I really don't only mean some, because I didn't see too many like kind of too outraged perspectives, and like I don't know, it's all kind of just ends up being rather basic. I think Lawrence's homily about like certainty and uncertainty in faith and all that was quite good, but that was kind of like the only thing I really gripped to, in terms of being like an interesting theme that he brings up in the church.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about Lawrence. It's funny, yeah. I guess it sounds like, I mean, I'm not surprised by the fact that, like, sort of like I already said, but diehard Catholic people would have a stance on this movie. But I don't know, that sort of more sounds to me like, I didn't read anything you read, but it sounds to more like that's just inherent in what the film is, that's going to provoke that sort of response, as opposed to anything the film really did. You know what I mean? I don't say. I think like if you make a film about this subject matter, then like you're going to outrage people, sort of no matter what you do.
Yeah,
on some level.
I mean, like in terms of mainstream depiction of the church in recent years of film, like it's probably like one of the more positive ones, that it doesn't like hyperfixate on any kind of like scandal, any specific like real scandal, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting that it's still being negatively perceived. I mean, like there is kind of, I don't know, maybe it comes down to like the fact that like so many of like the traditions are oversimplified, and maybe like so many characters and kind of ideas within the church are simplified. Maybe that's why they had taken issue with it. But like, yeah,
possibly, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I definitely agree in the sense that like I think the film, everything that was going on in the film felt like it was inherent in the situation and the characters.
Yeah, no, I agree that like in general, I guess the ideas are pretty tame. I guess. Like I think I expected more from Lawrence's side of it in terms of the religious, specifically religious angle, because I mean, like I don't think I've watched many religious films, but something I did watch, if it was First Reformed with Ethan Hawke. And in that, it kind of goes deep into like his crisis of faith and just like from seeing what this film is from the outset, just like the synopsis and just the general vibe, it seems like they would go more heavily into that angle, and tie it in with this, with this process. But I feel like it was kind of it was touched upon, and it was there to some extent, but I feel like that was a part of the film that wasn't like fully developed well enough. So yeah, I guess I was expecting more from that.
I agree. Yeah, I thought it was interesting, and I thought it worked as a sort of his own sort of crisis of faith sort of worked pretty seamlessly with like what's happening around him, with some big moments later on. But at the same time, I don't know, like in terms of his story, do we even really know what had caused some doubts in the faith that he has, and why it was being challenged? And why, he was wanting to resign at certain points. Because, I don't know if that was, like, I might have missed it, or, like, I don't know, like, maybe that's what you're talking about, that it wasn't really there as much. I don't really remember anything like that. And I think that's probably, that would have helped me, I think, a little bit.
I don't think his crisis of faith is really meant to be of any focus at all, more that it gets resolved. Like, its actual cause isn't really important. Right.
Its cause, yeah. I think the fact that he has it throughout is important. He's experiencing it throughout.
I mean, it's something that existed prior to the events, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's not really like I don't know how to really word it, but I just don't think it's important.
But do you agree that the fact that he's experiencing it and it is resolved at the end of the film in some way is important?
The fact that it's resolved, yes, but not that it like explains away any kind of like reason why he had it.
Reasoning, you don't think the reasoning is important?
No.
Okay, no, I think that's fair. I would have appreciated it, just to understand the character a bit better and some of his history, because I feel like I would have liked to know more about him, I guess. That's really all it is. But because I did really like some of the moments that Edward gives him, especially like I really liked his intro scene when he's like walking through the tunnel or whatever. And you're sort of following him from behind, and he has that moment in the elevator where he's like clenching his fist, I think. So you sort of get clues into the character in that way, which I think is well done. But I just would have liked to have learnt more about him, I guess, as opposed to just sort of feeling that.
And they say he has he doesn't have a crisis with faith, really. He has a crisis. He has a problem with prayer in particular, which like I don't know if I feel like there is something deeper there that they could have gone into. I'm not sure I understand what they're saying by saying that specifically. So yeah, I think it is important because he brings it up with like, Pope Innocent or whatever that guy's name was.
Yeah, I think so, and I think to that point in particular, like as someone who's not religious, I don't personally really know what the difference is between having a crisis of prayer versus anything else. You know what I mean? So
well, he never stopped believing, but he just had an issue with his that's like the key thing. Like there was no doubt about his belief.
Sure, yeah.
But
I don't really know what that means as it relates to prayer. Like, I don't understand. I would like to understand from his point of view, like what that's like to be a cardinal and feel strongly about one thing and then, be sort of struggling with another thing. And I don't know, that sort of sounds interesting. I didn't really get a lot of it, I guess.
Yeah. Probably does boil down to something to the political side of it, probably being around all the cardinals. And, the fact that we're told about he was refused his resignation in having to choose the next pope. So it probably did come down to something in that area, I'd say, of being hyper aware of like all the next candidates and not, and being understanding like of the political side of the papacy, maybe.
Yeah. I think that could very well be the case. That's interesting. Yeah, like his responsibility he has to take on in managing these different personalities is sort of very counterintuitive to his faith and his serenity, and yeah. No, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, in that sense, I don't know. Like, yeah, this is probably his worst nightmare to have to manage the conclave in this way. Because I assume so. The role of dean, which he had prior already, he already had that position. It sounds like that's sort of what I don't really know. I don't know what the dean actually is meant to do, but like it sounds like it's sort of a manager of people. I think he says that at one point. It's sort of that kind of role anyway, regardless if there's, he might serve as dean and never have to do a conclave, right? But regardless, it sounds like he's having to manage personalities and stuff for the Pope. And I guess that probably does sound exhausting in some way. That's probably why he wanted to resign. I don't know. That's sort of speculation on my part, but
yeah. Well, we do get a hint that like Lawrence himself is restless. Like I wasn't like the only one, I guess, because like in his bathroom, there's a scene like when he's trying to focus on reading or writing something, and then he gets really frustrated with like opening toiletries in his bathroom. Yeah. So I feel like he is distracted by that kind of side of it. So the conclave is his worst nightmare in a sense, and I guess just like completing that process kind of alleviates him of the political side of it or something. He's like relieved at the end, but
yeah, I think so. And yeah, I mean, by the end, did you guys get the sense that like he would stay on as dean? I think that's what I think that's sort of the resolution, right? Like if he still wants to resign anyway, then it's not the most character growth ever.
Yeah,
he was definitely like lightened at the end, to the point where like they shoot him in a way in that not final frame, but like one of the last frames where he puts the turtle back and like it's shot in a way to make it seem like he's actually floating, so I think he's definitely come through it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, ambition is another big theme in the film, and the whole idea of the person who doesn't want the title should be the one to have it, which I wholeheartedly agree with. But I guess in terms of this sort of crisis of faith that he's having that we're talking about, or his crisis of his role, or whatever, however you want to frame it, which is tested throughout the process. I guess the idea of him having some sort of deep down ambition with Stanley Tucci kind of pokes at was interesting, and I think another element that was slightly challenging him. I don't know. I guess I'm wondering, like, ultimately that's fully realized in the moment where he votes for himself, which, to my understanding, isn't allowed. It's not a situation where, I don't know, like, I feel like I can't even think of what it is. At like primary school, I've done things where like, oh, you can vote for yourself. It's fine.
I think it would be allowed though, because there was a point in the movie where like there are a bunch of single votes.
Yeah.
For people. It was like 20 single votes.
Oh, do you think that's what, oh, did you read that like that's what those were? I thought they were just, I believe in my mate because it's the first round.
No, that would be people voting for themselves. It wouldn't be people voting.
Really?
I also think of, I kind of sort of a way as voting when you're unsure as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, but then like when Lawrence votes for himself as well, I think it's when Bellini is like losing votes and like Lawrence is becoming a bit more of a real candidate. So like he kind of sees it as a necessity as well, maybe even. I never really saw it as like a selfish kind of, like it does, I guess it does come after. Does it come after he's told about, everyone has that aspiration deep down?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, so it makes sense for it to like derive from that in a way, I guess, but I kind of read it as like the more domineering things is like a bit of unsureness and a bit of if it's not going to be Bellini, it should be me.
Yeah. As in, like, in some way, he has to sort of, whether it's justification or not, he has to sort of step up and do it for the greater good, kind of thing. Yeah, that's interesting. I guess that's what I'm weighing up. Like, what was in his mind when he reached that? I think that's probably, in terms of his arc, it's probably his lowest point in the film, where he actually votes for himself. Because at the start he's so, steadfast against anything like that. And I guess I'm just, in trying to think about, like, the factors involved in him making that decision. I think I agree with you, where it's probably more so the positioning of everything and him sort of giving into it, and, like, maybe buying into the narrative that Bellini's selling of, like, and that other, I don't know the other dude, but, like, the other dude who was sort of campaigning with them for Bellini, buying into that narrative of we can't let the bad guys win, kind of thing. Like, we have to make a play that's going to secure our position, kind of, or our ideology, I guess, in the church. And maybe buying into that a bit too much to vote for himself, maybe more so than his own personal ambition coming out, I guess. So I don't know. I guess maybe to some extent it's a mix of those two things. But yeah, I find that interesting, especially when, like, so Stanley Tucci has that scene where, initial scene in the hallway where they sort of have a bit of a blow up, and he sort of accuses Lawrence of, everyone's thought about what their Pope name would be. But then later on, he then sort of comes back and admits, oh, that was more of a reflection of my own mindset, as opposed to I was sort of putting that on you. So yeah, I don't know. I guess so. Sorry, so I'm just sort of talking in circles a little bit, but it sounds like you, Jane, you think it's less so the personal ambition and more so those other factors that was driving him.
Yeah.
What do you agree with that, Fitzy?
Yeah, I mean, there was never a point in the film where I felt like he was, like, fully selfish or, like, taken over by the process, or that he, like, gave into his own, hidden ambition or anything. Like, I guess putting his name down, that was probably the point in the film where he was most involved in the process and kind of wrapped up in it that way, but, like, not in any kind of selfish way. I think he was, like, fairly level throughout, I guess. And I didn't sense that he had, like, ambition. Tucci's kind of monologue there is kind of right in some sense. Like, everyone has some drive for power, but I didn't feel like his, like, exceeded, like the minimum kind of human,
right.
drive for power. It wasn't like, I wouldn't call it ambition. Yeah,
I think also just because, like, he probably feels exposed by Bellini at that point as well. Maybe, like, he feels like he needs to, like, especially given his crisis of prayer. This might factor into all his doubts, and, like, his own, like, ambition he might see as being like the fact that it's been exposed as, like, some deep down part of him. He feels like the need to kind of give into it.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably true too. Yeah. It's probably not a pleasant feeling to be accused of that. Yeah, especially when, I'm sure, like you said, on some base here, like, whatever minimum standard he meets, like, it is true. And yeah, for that to be exposed when it's sort of against everything he's presented about himself, that's probably challenging in its own way. But yeah, I think, I mean, in terms of the significance of the moment of him voting for himself, I don't think it's any coincidence. I don't know if you guys agree. I don't think it's any coincidence like that. That's the moment where the fucking explosion takes place, where the bombing occurs. Yeah, I think so. I think, like, that, of all moments where, like, it's sort of a build up to him, like, he's, like, shaking, writing his name down, and he's walking up, and it's like, wow, this is kind of a low for him. And then in that moment is when sort of the sanctity of the process of the chapel is sort of shattered as he does that. You know what I mean? I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to necessarily say it was, like, intended as, like, divine intervention or whatever necessarily within the story, but I'm not saying that. But I feel like it's at least a reflection of, like, what he's doing and how he's fallen from what he should represent in that moment. I think those two things are linked.
Does he cast his vote, or does it blow up before he can put it in the container?
Oh yeah, I don't know. And do they even like count that vote?
Well, I think that vote would be null and void.
Yeah. I think they
Surely.
just
Yeah.
did it. Yeah, I think they just restarted after that.
But that's interesting. Like, did he ever
Yeah.
actually cast the vote for himself? I can't recall.
And yeah. If he did, and if he just put it in, was he the only one? And then they just the person just opened it and saw it. I don't know if they can, if that's how it worked, but they can just see he voted for himself.
But I think it's more interesting if he got prevented from voting him for himself.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Like maybe yeah, right. Maybe that is some divine intervention there. I don't know. God was watching out for that. But I thought the explosion itself was pretty shocking and effective.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to it?
I think I actually I saw that in the trailer and I thought it would be a dream sequence or something, because there was just no conceivable avenue for why, like there was no conceivable way, the reason for why an explosion should be in the film that I could think of before watching it. But yeah, I mean I guess it was like shocking in if I hadn't watched the trailer, but it was shocking enough, by itself. I think
it's
like
kind of lame they put that in the trailer.
Yeah, it is. But like the whole the background kind of stuff is an interesting kind of thing that adds to the turmoil of the process as well. So that was a nice kind of addition, I guess.
As in like the terrorism.
The political background,
yeah, 100%. And it's it's ultimately what sort of swung the whole thing, really, in the end. Well, at least the candidates involved using it, or not using. I don't know. That sounds a bit pessimistic. Well, definitely one of them trying to use it. I'll put it that way. When it comes to Tedesco, in that, I guess I say that because I really liked the scene in the theater after the explosion when they're also held together, and Tedesco starts, and I thought this dude, I want to get his name. This dude who played Tedesco was probably like one of my standout, probably my favorite performance of like the supporting cast, to be honest. What's his name? God damn it, here it is. Sergio Castellito. I thought he was really solid. I liked him. He just had, I don't know, he just had that obnoxious presence about him, but still kind of had this legitimacy as well. That was, I don't know, felt quite realistic. Felt like people would vote for this guy, I guess. Anyway, he had that speech in the theater where he very much tries to use the bombing to his advantage to try and fearmonger, and I thought that was a really cool moment. And apropos, and parallels can be drawn for that for many different things. So I thought it was really interesting. But then, of course, old mate Benitez gets up, gives his counter speech, and I think that's pretty clear. That's essentially what wins it for him, right? So it's all pretty pivotal.
I mean, Jane mentioned it when we came out of the theater, but like I definitely felt like yeah, I mean, it wasn't. It was pretty clear that that's where the story was headed, and I think like the script is kind of clean in that way, where you can see some things coming, and it's kind of, there are inevitabilities, but there are like surprises as well. So it's like, yeah, it wasn't too expected in the end, but. That was something that I definitely could see coming. Him kind of rising from nowhere, from Kabul.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys have better instincts than me because you guys said that. I didn't feel that way. I think Spooky felt the same way, but I didn't feel that way. I mean, I'm also not great at picking stuff in general, but I don't know. I mean, it was obvious to me it was going to be significant. A significant player in some way, but I don't know. And I thought it was going to be more so in him influencing the outcome. By the time the film, I mean, at the start I had no clue, obviously, but like, I don't know, by the time in the second act the film shifted towards positioning, well, maybe it's a bit late even. I don't know. When the film started to drop ideas of like people voting for Lawrence, if anything, I would have leaned towards him. and like maybe him having some sort of negative arc. But I didn't. I just say that to say I didn't see Benitez coming personally. By the time he gave the speech, obviously that was within the story. It made sense that I would believe that then. But
I think that's like my biggest issue with the film is probably that kind of his Benitez's whole story of that he rocks up and like I feel like it's overly obvious that he's gonna end up as the Pope. And then like I think particularly his ending monologue that nets him the win, but also just some of his discussions with Lawrence throughout, like they just feel too straightforward, too cliched.
They feel like manufactured in a way.
Yeah. Yes, actually, probably perfect word for it. Yes. Like they I mean, yeah, I don't know really where to go beyond manufactured, but I think it's the fact that like, I mean, like he's the priest that served in Afghanistan in war times,
right?
And he's giving, you know, and like it just, yeah, like manufactured is a perfect word for it. Yeah, I don't really need, yeah, I shouldn't go about anything.
Like he's kind of perfect. He's kind of too perfect.
Yeah, and I think there's aspects of that in other parts of the film as well. But I think his kind of character in the storyline best represent that feeling.
Okay. So in that way, would it have worked better if like... So the final sort of twist, I guess, of him after he's elected and like the final reveal, like were you thinking coming in, like when it became clear something was going to be revealed about him, did you think it was going to be like possibly like something that's... Because I was leaning in the direction of like it's going to be something that like puts a black mark next to his name.
I thought it'd be gay.
Negative.
I just didn't think it'd be...
Oh, okay.
I didn't think it'd be intersex, but I thought it'd be gay.
But you thought it'd be something along... Okay, well, that's closer to what it actually was as opposed to what I thought. Like, I thought it was going to be something that exposed him as like I don't know, he committed war crimes or something. You know what I mean?
When it was talking about his like... When they started mentioning a clinic in Geneva, I started thinking, oh, was it like a rehabilitation, like alcohol or drug abuse or something? I was never really expecting him to be like... I was never expecting it to be like a sexual abuse or like war crimes or anything like that. Yeah.
But it sounds like, I don't know, but like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you might have liked that more in the sense that it would have like justified how perfect he seemed beforehand. Like it was all...
I think that would have been a fucking good aspect.
Like he was actually a player.
Especially choosing the name Innocence. When he chose the name Innocence, actually, I was like, ooh. I was like, maybe something interesting. But then, no, it's intersex. I mean, like, not that isn't interesting. It's in itself, especially for the church. But like it's not as... I mean, it goes with the film's whole like bias that the church should be progressive, you know, because
yes,
had they chose a more serious, like not more serious, had they chose something that would be like an actual like stain on like the papacy, it wouldn't really fit in well with like the idea like these themes of progression within the church. Yes,
exactly. And a stain, a different kind of stain, I guess, because like certain viewers would still see this as a stain, I guess. But yes, I think, sure. I think, no, but 100% from the film's point of view, I think like, and that's also reflective of Lawrence's arc as well, is that like he's able to confront that, like confront those old rules of like what is acceptable and what is not, and he's able to in that moment, like he learns the truth and accepts it and lets it be, kind of thing. Which is sort of, you know, significant for him personally as well, but also overall on the film stance on the church as an organization, I think as well. Yeah, as like that's the positive direction that it recognizes that they should be moving in. You know, probably to the consternation of some, but
yeah.
How did you feel about the twist, Fitzy?
Well, I just had a thought of what you just said, like with Lawrence. It's like Lawrence kind of represents the church in general in a way. Like he's a very kind of neutral character, right? And he's like a manager. So like maybe some of the subtleties with his character, with his like problems with prayer or whatever, maybe they're not explored because he's just kind of, he is a representation of that, you know, the progressive nature of the church today, and like in him accepting Benitez in the end, it's kind of just like, you know, what the church has to do to move forward.
And the church's willingness to indulge and ignore the negatives of the world in Tedesco and in real life issues.
Yeah. he's less of a character, but his representation. But yeah, with Innocent, I don't know. Yeah, it was interesting. I definitely, when we got kind of Lawrence's reaction at the end, I definitely felt it would be something more serious and something that Benitez has actually done. But again, I guess it points towards like the church values stuff, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it would have been more interesting if he was stained, but then it might not have worked as well, I guess. Ultimately, like, it would have been more entertaining, but I think as it stands, like, it does thematically fit more to just make it about this, like, conservative versus progressive kind of duality. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, maybe I would have liked it more as I was sitting there if it went that way. But then, yeah, maybe, I don't know if it would have, maybe it wouldn't have, it definitely wouldn't have, I don't think, fit overall what the film was actually really doing in retrospect as much. I'm a little bit torn on it, I guess. I liked that the film had one more thing. Because, like, in the moment where he was chosen and he's anointed and stuff, I don't know if that's the right word, but I don't know. I feel like the film had it needed one last sort of punch to send me home, and it did have one, so I appreciated that. I don't know if I necessarily loved that reveal, not because of anything to do with it specifically, but just because it came so out of nowhere for me. Where, I mean, I know they alluded to like him having some. Oh, I guess they did allude to him having some sort of like medical procedures and stuff. I guess what we were meant to sort of think from that is like maybe he's dying or something. Which would also be problematic, naturally. But yeah, so maybe there were some hints and stuff. I don't know. I think for me, it just came so out of nowhere that it almost felt the most like movie moment that it had. It felt like the most.
So that moment felt like manufactured to you in the way that.
Yeah.
The other moments did too. Jaden.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I think that was my immediate reaction, but like I do say I'm torn because like I do. In looking back, there were some hints, and in what we've already just talked about, like I do think it's probably a more relevant thematic choice to make. So I think I lean towards liking it. I do lean towards liking it, but it did, yeah. In the moment, it sort of hit me in a way that took me out of it a little bit, I think. But yeah, no, I lean towards liking it overall. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what other people think about that. I feel like that's probably, to anyone that sees the movie, I think it'll be most interesting to ask them about what their reaction was to that all over the map, because I'm sure we get many different answers, which is interesting. But people seem to like it, which is good. Man. Oh, I do have some Benitez trivia here. This Benitez is played by Carlos Diaz, and this is his first major film appearance. He was an architect until 2020, when his last child left home and he decided to take online classes for acting and go to auditions. It's never too late. Never too late to do something, make a career change, hey?
Yeah, there was an architect that I had who was a teacher of this like philosophy of science course. I think she changed from architecture to that. Right. Midlife. So yeah.
So the moral of the story is everyone leaves architecture.
Everyone leaves architecture, dude.
I think Tom Ford was also trained as an architect before fashion. And
really?
Directing, obviously. Yeah.
No shit.
He's done everything then. That's great.
Yeah.
Jaden, you got to start looking at the next career prospect.
Yeah, I mean,
50 plus.
Architecture is a stepping stone. Yeah, that's why.
Damn, hey, if it leads you to filmmaking, that's fine by me. That's great. Yeah, cool. I guess so. I mean, we've already sort of touched on everyone in little ways, I guess. But in terms of the performances, first of all, overall, how strong do we feel Rafe was, and does his work deserve to be in the hunt for lead actor?
Amongst what I've seen, I'd say yes. I'm still missing a fair few key, of the Oscar noms that will be announced.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's as good as any, and I think it's definitely, especially compared to some past winning performances, I think it's definitely worthy. Yeah.
Yeah, we can always say that, can't we?
Yeah.
I tend to agree. I think, Rafe's one of my favorite actors in general, and I thought he was really great in the film. So I've got no complaints. It's not like my favorite. I didn't walk out thinking that's the best Rafe thing I've ever seen, but he was great as you'd expect, So I've got no issue with him being a top
Has he won it
player.
before? Did he win it for Schindler's List? Not
Good
actor,
question.
but maybe like supporting.
Good question. I don't know. Ralph Fiennes Oscar. Surely, right? Surely he's won an Oscar. Yeah, he's won. Yeah, hang on. Here we go. He's won best. Why went this show?
No, nominated for 2.
Oh, he's only nominated for 2 days and 1.
Was he nominated for the menu? Or
No, he was nominated for English Patient and Schindler's List.
Gotcha, but he didn't win them.
Mm.
Damn. Oh, and dude, that was almost 30 years ago for both of them.
Yeah.
It was over 30 years ago for Schindler's, right?
He's going to get his Lyra moment, It's like after years of service, he's going to
Yeah.
finally get it.
Hey, in that respect, I'm down for it. I really am. Yeah. I don't know if I really enjoyed the other players in the film. I don't know if any of them were strong enough to warrant them being in the hunt for a supporting nom. I don't know, but I think Stanley Tucci's always a fun presence. Fun feels like the wrong word to use in this particular film, but the film was funny at times, I guess. So maybe not. Lithgow. He's always awesome.
He is. He didn't feature as much as I kind of thought he would, especially being like an early player. But I will shout out Lucian Messamati, who played Adeyemi, because he was I know him from he was in Othello, an Othello production with he played Iago in the Royal Shakespeare Theatre Company. He was really good in that, but I think he was really good here too. His breakdown scene was pretty fantastic, and just kind of the front he has for the first half of the film was very convincing. I think Tucci somehow didn't feel like he stood out too much, which was, I think, his
the best compliment.
Yeah.
That's actually a good point. He really felt like he fit in, which he might not have, I guess. Yeah.
I very little felt Lithgow and Tucci. I really feel like it came from Tedesco's guy and Lucian. Really, that's where the performances came from for me. Which is interesting because even I don't know, Lithgow's the last one. Not that it was bad, it was strong. He's the last one that I kind of give a shout for any kind of support. But in the reviews and articles I was reading, it quite often referenced him.
I think he gets a bit of bias. I think. People love him, and I think it's deserved. I think he's great. But shout out to I love Tedesco's costume. I loved how he had they all they're all meant to wear the same thing, right? But his version was an evil cloak version of whatever.
The drip in this film is crazy. But his fashion and his vape and stuff, those little elements that distinguish him were cool.
Yeah, 100%. Were there any other sort of standout moments or shots? Maybe smaller things. I will say, I think a lot of people will say this, but I really like the shot of the dude on his phone. That was fun. My favorite shot in the film, it's a pretty easy one, but it was when the what I assume is a crane shot of the fountain in St. Peter's Square with all the cardinals walking towards it. They really let that one sit, and it was that was pretty nuts. That was pretty awesome. So that's probably my favorite shot in the film.
I love the first meeting they have in the theater when there's only 10 of them, and it's
and they're
lit by the spotlight. Incredibly hard.
Yeah, that's good. And when they're all I love all those scenes when they're maneuvering their factions, and their votes and their strategy. I thought that was all really fun, and it happens again in the hallway later and stuff. But yeah, that's a good one for sure.
But like, I am surprised, like in that aspect of how little we see from the other kind of faction, like their maneuvering and stuff. Like we only really get, we only really get it from like Lawrence's point of view and from his group, I guess. There's so much that like happens in the background that we don't kind of see. But yeah, I think my favorite shot would also be one of those like theater scenes, because I just think like the composition in those scenes is really incredible. The way they kind of priests are spread out, and like the lighting in the theater is great.
And there's so much shadow that surrounds them. And their conspiracy. Yeah.
And the second time when they're all covered in dust, I mean, I feel like some of them should clean up, but it made for the cool visual though. Did we have any thoughts on the score?
I mean, like, scores are always strongest in films like these, right? Like,
often.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's always going to be like a political thriller or like a subdued spy thriller. From that always just has like an incredibly strong score. Like I think Spooky was mentioning as we came out, or maybe I think it was Spooky. It was like talking about like the single beat that would like play every now and then, to kind of cue you in. But like just like even throughout, like when it's like when the score is moving, it is fucking hauling ass as well. Man. Like it's I don't know. Yeah, it really paces the film well, and it really stamps each moment.
It does. There are key moments where they choose not to use it as well. Like there are some scenes that are dead silent, and then there are scenes where it comes in hard. That makes it effective. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great.
I think it actually works because there's like a lot of silence in the film, and then you have those like hard, that hard beat sound and that kind of very fast like motif that they use. Like,
and it's also
like
the silences and but also like Rafe's breathing that constantly comes in. Which I don't know, is that just because he's old, or is that just like kind of like is that like a character thing? I don't know.
I guess it's it
kind
of like
the super
audio
labored and obvious,
Yeah,
but
I guess it's like the audio version of him clenching his fist, or what whatever that is, like the keeping it all, bundling it all up,
Yeah, it's just like a representation of his pressure, I guess. Tension.
I will say that the guy who kept coming in and giving Lawrence updates, I don't know. I think he did. I think it I feel like the first time when he came in and like, I should have told you this earlier, and I know I should have told you this earlier, and it's like the first time I could accept it because he's not meant to hear outside information. I can understand the hesitation. I feel like it happened like 3 times though, where he's like, "Oh no, sorry, I should have said this." But it's like, dude, come on! Like, surely by the 3rd time you're just going to tell him. You know what I mean?
It's funny how anxious he is every time as well. I feel like that guy always plays anxious characters. He always makes that face. I don't know. I feel like I've seen him before, and he just does that. That's his. That's how they've pigeonholed him.
That's his typecast.
Yeah, it's his typecast. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just like really anxious every time to do the same thing he was already done in the movie.
Yeah.
And then I get it. It's important. I get it. It's important stuff that he's talking about. But
yeah, well,
it was right every time.
I mean, with the death of the previous perp. So that wasn't caused by. Was that caused by Lithgow, or was he just like? Did he just suppress? Did he just hide the fact that he was fired or whatever? Because I guess it was a pretty big coincidence that he was fired in that last meeting, and then the Pope dies. But I don't think they ever say that he was like killed or anything.
Yeah. I don't think anything foul play happened with the Pope. I think it was just. I think one of the theories that one of them had in the movie was like, he knew he was dying, so he was like trying to position things on the board to play out how he hopes they would afterwards. So I assume
sorry.
Oh, and like one of those things was like they said that he wanted to make sure, like that's why he didn't accept Lawrence's resignation because he wanted to make sure he was dean for the conclave. And I assume another one of those things was the Lithgow firing, where like he probably knew, like had inklings of like what was going on with that character in terms of his abuse and stuff, and like knew he was sort of he was going to die maybe any day. I don't know, but. And just made the move. Like I don't know if he knew it was going to be his like last meeting with him or whatever, but like he wanted to get that done before he died, and then I think he died kind of almost too soon for it to be sort of properly certified, which Lithgow used to his advantage.
He did know about Lithgow's. Like he's the reason they had like the 4-page document with all his like bank transaction shit. Like, there's no doubt about it. He knew Lithgow was bad, not like an English.
Oh yeah. But I guess I don't know. But I guess I just meant like maybe he was. I don't know, like how long did he know? Maybe he was like accumulating, like he was waiting till he had.
Yeah.
Like that's why the meeting took place. He was waiting till he had that report or whatever evidence. I don't know. I'm just guessing that, but he's waiting till he had the evidence. Maybe.
Probably just died.
From, I don't think he necessarily
like a release of stress. Like when he fired Lithgow, it's like, it's finally done. And he's like, I can let go.
Yeah, but he fucked up there though, because that's what that kind of what screwed it.
Go.
See, that's that's the pronunciation you got to go with now. You can't let go.
Yeah, Isabella Rossellini was good as well as the sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the that's a good point. I think like the feminine side of the movie is important in how sparingly it's it's there, but it's like comes in big moments where it matters. Like obviously her, like obviously it's mainly represented through the sisterhood who are sort of always present, but in a male dominated institution like that. And she has a big sort of speech moment that's significant and that makes a big difference. So I think it comes out there, and I also think there's a significance to the like the final. I think this is the final shot of the movie, right? Of like of the courtyard and the little are they sisters? I guess coming out of the door. I think there's something to that of being the last shot and like that. This is the calm. This is how the church is moving forward of like peace. It kind of has a peaceful morning feel to it, and then it's the women there. I don't know. It feels all connected to me.
Well, were they like sequestered as well? Is that what that final shot means? 'Cause it's like they're finally free from the process.
I don't know.
I think the average ones probably were like the higher up ones, like Rossellini's character probably weren't because they needed contact with the outside world to organize stuff. But I'd say like the normal ones probably were as well.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
I just think it uses women in an interesting way within the church as like to show that like the church is still like kind of archaic in that manner, in that it's not inclusive of women in the process of what really most of its traditions, which is just interesting given that like how progressive it depicts the church in its other ways and its overall kind of its overall kind of what do you call it? Like its driving theme is that
like its philosophy or whatever.
Yeah, it's progressiveness through the church, but then like women are still like heavily but like all women are used to show like the archaic side,
Definitely. Yeah. Of how it's still like that. Yeah. Cool. All right. Let's get to our final verdicts for Conclave. Fitzy.
I'll slap a 7 on Conclave. I think it was very good. And didn't blow me away, but it was a good film, solid. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I've been between a 7 and an 8 all week, and I could go. I'll go with an 8. I did really like it. I think it's going to be on my top 10. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. I don't know. Like I could go with a strong 7, but I think a couple of little reservations I had. This conversation's been nice, so I'll go with an 8. Jaden.
Yeah. I've been on an 8 this whole week as well, and I've been thinking, man, I should drop it to a strong 9. But like, I think in my actual, no, it's an 8. Yeah, it's an 8.
Okay. Yeah, nice. Very.
Did I say strong 9?
All right.
I meant strong 7.
Oh yeah, well, I was going to say. I thought you were.
Yeah.
Okay,
Shit.
that checks out. That checks out.
Yeah.
Like what you went from a maybe an 8 to a strong 9.
Yeah, he said it was decent at the start. I was like, no.
All right, let's get into news chat. So, in terms of stuff we've missed over the last 4 weeks or whatever, the main thing is, of course, the confirmation of Christopher Nolan's next film being an adaptation of the Odyssey. I mean, everyone knows this already, but I'm gonna read the tweet, and then I just want to ask, like, interpretation of this in a way, and sort of go from there. This is exactly what Universal Pictures tweeted. Christopher Nolan's next film, The Odyssey, is a mythic action epic shot across the world using brand new IMAX film technology. The film brings Homer's foundational saga to IMAX film screens for the first time and opens in theaters July 7th, 2026. Is there any interpretation where helicopters are still involved, Jaden?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like adapting the Odyssey doesn't mean you're adapting the historical like side of it. You don't need to be in fucking ancient Greece or whatever, with fucking cyclopses and fucking shit like that. And it's what I said on Tuesday night. It's the same way that the Coens adapted the Odyssey for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And you have this 1930s kind of jailbreak tale.
Okay.
Adapting the Odyssey means nothing. You can adapt it in any number of ways. Like there is still a very high chance, in my opinion, especially given it's Nolan. Like he's never really shown any interest in that side of storytelling. I'd still because where did that helicopter? Didn't it come from a Variety report as well?
No.
Where'd it come from?
No. The helicopter thing was much more rumory.
Oh, okay. Look, if it's rumory, then who knows? But just because it's an Odyssey adaptation doesn't mean that it's out of the question.
Okay, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I'm going to read this part again. A mythic action epic shot across the world.
Yes, nothing about
mythic. I don't know.
Modern day myths. You can have future myths.
Not in our end of watch helicopter scenario. I don't know. Well, I'm not ruling it out, but I think to me this is pretty clearly. I very much read this as like it's mythology. It's he's going to do that shit. What do you? Yeah. I mean, that's what I like. Do you actually think that's what it'll be? Like, I know you're not ruling it out. That's your argument, and I don't disagree with the argument. But what do you actually think it is?
I actually don't think it is a direct adaptation of Homer's Odyssey in that it's going to be in ancient Greece. I think it is going to be a different story. I don't know how much you want to fucking buy into helicopter pilots in the future.
Yeah, I don't.
But I don't. It's not going to be I don't believe in the setting and the time.
Okay, all right. No, that's the exact answer I wanted. Fitzy, your take on that?
Well, the fact that they say it's shot all over the world is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess to the Greeks, Greece was the whole world. So, if you make a modern adaptation of the Odyssey, maybe you have to, adapt it in that way and make it, feel bigger, I guess. But, I am hoping that it's a fully authentic adaptation. But yeah, I don't know. It'll probably be slightly. I hope I hope it's authentic, but just updated in that way for modern times. Still fantasy, still Cyclops and shit. But just maybe on a worldly scale, or maybe on just with an extra something. I don't know. Maybe not sci-fi, but just something. Because yeah. I don't fully see him just going straight to the source material and just doing that. But I hope he does, but it just seems unlikely, I guess.
Yeah.
But
so am I? Oh, sorry. You're right.
No, I was just saying, I am excited for it either way. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Am I correct in understanding it's sort of a the main character, what's his name, Odysseus or whatever?
Odysseus.
Odysseus.
Mm.
Like, it's kind of like is it kind of like a journey for him in the sense that like he's going somewhere, he's got a destination, he like meets these different encounters, people along the way? Is that how it's sort of structured?
It's a homecoming journey, because it's after the Trojan War. He gets stuck. He goes through a lot of shit, and then he gets stuck on an island, and he has to come back. So
yeah.
So
like with this cast, do you expect like he's meeting these different people along the way? Like it's not like an ensemble in the sense of like they're all the characters all interact with each other kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
you have the segment where it's
30
quite
chapters,
with these
it's
people.
quite like isolated. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he he gets trapped with Circe, and then he gets trapped with his crew in the Cyclops, and then he goes on to somewhere else and has his adventures there. It's kind of like very much that style of storytelling. Yeah,
that's kind of what I figured.
Doesn't that speak to like the whole helicopter pilot thing? Like he goes down in battle, and he has to make his way home to base or some shit, or like even to like his actual family home.
Wow, dude, I love it. We're like the only podcast that won't let go of the helicopter.
Are we? Like, I don't know. Do people still?
I honestly don't know.
To be fair, you're the one that brought up the helicopters to me, so it's fucking your fault, man.
Yeah, no, it really is. Yeah, no, I'm not disputing that, but I think it's funny.
But that's just the thing I mean. It can be any journey of going home, and then you're adapting the Odyssey.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I don't know. I do very much picture. I don't know, with this cast in particular, I can just picture them all in these. Again, not knowing really anything about the Odyssey other than what Fitzy's described to me.
You picture
Tom
Holland
them all in
a
these
historic epic. Okay, mate.
Yeah, I definitely can. Like 100%. Like, is he like okay? Well, who's going to be Odysseus? Sorry, I've already.
Well, Matt Damon would be Odysseus because
would he?
Well, Odysseus is like an older character. Yeah. Okay. Because he's been stuck. Right. He's been away for like 20 years or whatever. Okay. Tom Holland would be Telemachus, his son.
So is he always with him?
No. Telemachus is home with
right.
Is it Penelope? Yeah, Odysseus' wife, who's being like courted by the suitors. So yeah.
Okay. Well, do keep in mind the helicopter rumor was centered around the fact that it was 2 pilots.
Oh.
That changes everything.
It changes everything.
Yeah. Okay. Not knowing that about the story, I didn't know if it was going to be. I figured it was going to be Holland or Damon, but it sounds like it's Damon.
Oh yeah. Well, they do like connect at some point, and then they have to like fight together. So
makes perfect sense then.
Holland could turn into Damon.
Oh yeah. They could have a Holland flashback where he's in the Trojan War as young Odysseus. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be okay. Now we're talking. Okay. All right. Now that's cool. Well then, okay. Do you guys agree that Odysseus' wife is going to be either Charlize Theron or Anne Hathaway? And which one?
I think Anne Hathaway, because Charlize Theron would be like Circe's or something. She'd be like a mythic.
Yeah, I can see that
creature for sure.
Yeah. She doesn't feel. Yeah. I get you. Anne Hathaway's got the more like homely sort of vibe. Charlize Theron feels like a
homely. That's literally one of the words that Homer uses to
homely.
No. Like he uses homely to describe Penelope in one of the translations. Yeah.
Oh wow! I'm just so clued into this shit. Yeah. Man. It's crazy. All right, there you go. The Odyssey. I can't wait to talk about if this is going to be helicopter pilots. Probably. I don't know, for the next 6 months. Maybe who knows how long it'll go on.
Is it meant to be a next year thing or a 2027 thing?
July 17th, 2026 is the release date.
Oh, okay.
So Nolan has very clearly now, for the last almost decade now, like he is a July every 3 years guy. That's it. He has not missed that for a while.
Oh.
So, Yep. Before that he was more frequent. He was July every 2 years previously with like when he was doing Batman and shit. But since then, it's been from Interstellar onwards, it's been literally exactly the same every time. So,
and the gap between Inception and that would probably only could be because he was doing Man of Steel and some other stuff, right?
In terms of why it was so quick.
No, because Inception to Interstellar was 4 years.
Well, he did Dark Knight Rises in the middle of those. He was pumping.
Oh
around.
shit! Right, yeah, 2012.
Yeah. He was doing every. He's actually slowed down, but in a standard that's. I don't know how he was doing it that quick. To be honest, like every 3 years feels like still plenty for him. You know what I mean? I'm very happy with that. All right, Jen, you also watched the Until Dawn trailer.
Yeah,
if you want to talk about it?
I'm kind of really disappointed it's not an adaptation of the game.
You want
which like I get the reason why it doesn't need to exist because the game is like cinematic in itself and like it's hard to do like a true storyline, I guess, given that there is so many options and so many different ways it plays out.
Yeah, you need to
pick lives
one.
And dies and all that shit. So like you need to be, I don't know, it'd be a kind of tough one to do if you really wanted. I'm just kind of upset with how far it strays, I guess. Especially seeing that Peter Stormare was cast. I thought he would be like reprising his role as like the Doctor, but he's just like a random guy.
Oh really? That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know. He probably is going to be like a bit more significant than the trailer shows, I'd say. But like yeah, the trailer plays it out with this Groundhog Day kind of mechanic, and it kind of feels very independent in each. It feels like a showcase of like monsters, really. So how much it like obviously has to link together like for the story, but like how much they do, I think is going to like dictate the quality of the film, like how disjointed each one kind of feels as like a independent just showcase of what's killing them this time.
Yeah,
I don't know, like interesting, and I'm still keen for it, I guess, especially like I like Sandberg as a director. He's done some great stuff in horror. But yeah, a little saddened. But
yeah. He does seem like a decent choice for it, I guess.
Mm.
In terms of his horror bona fides, but yeah. I don't know. This film's coming out pretty soon. I feel like they're sort of, I don't know. I mean, this horror trailer, they probably work a bit differently. Where I don't know, maybe the trailers come out a bit sooner towards the release. I just feel like it's kind of soon. I don't know. Feels like to me, it's sort of my first impression was, do they really believe in this movie? But
when's it coming out?
April, I think. Or is that not abnormal? I don't know.
No, I don't even feel like that's abnormal for like some like other films these days.
Okay, fair enough. All right, very good. Now it's time for our highlights of the month. Liam, I mean, you got a lot to choose from, but anything in particular you want to discuss here?
Do I have a lot to choose from?
Maybe we should we choose for you?
Yeah, you choose for me. Yeah.
All right.
Let's go back to this. I'm not Better Man's veto. I don't want to talk about Better Man.
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm fine with a veto. That's fine.
Yeah, nothing sticks out. It's just...
Not really. Nothing really sticks out for me either, to be honest. Man, you know what? Casablanca stinks out to me.
Casablanca.
Well, did Jaden agree with that? Is he happy with that?
I was feeling more All We Imagine Is Light, but I'm happy with Casablanca.
See, I was going to go with that too. That's crazy.
No, okay.
I'll go with that one then. We'll do both rapid. Whatever you want.
Fine.
You have to make it for a month, so you can.
Yeah. All We Imagine Was Light. All We Imagine Was As Light was very good. It's set in Mumbai. I think Mumbai. Yeah.
I think they're the same city, aren't they?
Yeah. No, I know. So it's about these two like nurses, I guess, and just their kind of stories about their lives, love lives, lives in the city. I don't know. It's very kind of intimate feeling, I guess. But being set in Mumbai is obviously like a very busy city, we'll say. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's definitely like an achievement for sure. It's like it basically feels like an American. Like it's not a Bollywood film in any way. It doesn't feel that way. It feels like just a normal like indie, production. So yeah, I haven't really seen much like it, set in India. So yeah, I'm sure more of these films kind of exist, but yeah, that was definitely good. Casablanca, not as good, not as good as Better Man, unfortunately. No, I mean, it was good. I mean, if the last 10 minutes didn't exist, no one would talk about Casablanca, but it was still decent overall. I get what you were saying about like the pacing and stuff. It is very kind of breakneck, very kind of quippy, and like definitely some great performances. But I don't know, it was just too clever for its own good. You know, it was too smart. It was too fucking witty. I don't know.
I tried too hard.
Yeah, I tried too hard. It was too good. The movie was too good. Yeah.
That's funny. Oh man.
But yeah, I mean, Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman are great, obviously. I just was expecting more, you know, because it's Casablanca. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, there you go. Is all we imagine is light? Is this a top tenner for you? Does this need my attention?
I mean, probably. Yeah, it's probably like
Okay.
in the bottom half of the top 10. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Bottom half. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So I don't know if you guys want to pick me next, or have you got?
But yeah.
I was coming in. You're more than welcome to pick something for me, but I was gonna talk about Skeleton Crew if Jaden's seen it.
I haven't seen it.
How much have you seen any of it?
No.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was fine. It's my summary of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Expectations going into it, I wasn't that excited. Everything I said about it, sort of going into it, sort of just perfectly met what I thought, which was I will probably never watch it again. But it was.
I thought isn't like the general reception pretty like positive though?
Yeah, I don't know why, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It's like the one time.
Wow, way to hype me up for this. Okay.
I think it's just like I don't. I honestly, I'm not. I kind of stay away from the online discourse these days to keep my sanity. But I imagine, like, is it so safe and so just like, hey, we're an 80s fun movie kind of thing that like people. It's so inoffensive that people like think it's like, you know what I mean? It's just fine. And
I
like,
haven't seen anything specific. Like I haven't seen any like anything beyond like general opinion being like on the positive side. I think like the bigger tell to me is that I haven't seen like any like rage bait articles or tweets. Posts.
Well, that's what I mean. I feel like because there's nothing, dude. There's nothing going on. It's like there's nothing to rage bait. There's nothing to be mad about. Like I don't know. Like is the key to have like people be generally meagerly satisfied with it is just to do nothing interesting. Like you know what I mean? I don't know. Is that where we're at? But yeah, I don't know. Sorry, you guys. Sorry, I can leave it at that. Or if you guys want to choose something for me, you're welcome to.
Yeah, I want to hear about My Old Ass because I watched that last night.
Oh yeah. Okay. I really enjoyed it. You know, Fitzy, I feel like there's a pattern here where, like, I know when I give a film an 8, you like not a broad rule, but when I watch a certain kind of film and give it an 8, you'll give it a 7 or a 6.
Certain kind of.
Like, you'll never give it higher than I give it. Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, my ratings are just lower in general, I guess, but
possibly, but maybe. But I feel like for these, I don't know, for these kind of just like feel good, like coming of age kind of movies, like I'm always going to like them a little bit more than you, just like a point or two more, depending on what it is. I feel like it's kind of a pattern I see.
I haven't actually seen Coda, but like a Coda kind of thing.
100%, dude. There's no world where you'll give Coda an 8, but I'm sure you'll like it. I'm sure you'll find it pleasant.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but it's
probably. Yeah. That kind of thing, yeah. And that's exactly what My Old Ass was, which surprised me. I basically only watched it because I was surprised Andy gave it such a high score. In that he gave it an 8 too. And I was like, hang on, Andy gave this an 8. I guess this deserves my attention more than I thought. So I, because I don't know, it just feels like something he wouldn't give an 8. Because my expectation was like kind of Jaden's reservations about it being like a stoner comedy. I'm like, I'm so not into that shit. So anyway, he gave it an 8. I'm like, hang on, what is this? So then I watched it, and it's like not that at all. It's just a coming of age story basically.
I never thought it was a stoner comedy.
Wasn't like the whole beef you had with it? It was like
I've got no beef.
All right, don't try and walk this shit back, bro.
got no
But
beef.
all right. Yeah. I don't know. It had some really heartfelt moments.
Yeah.
Really, it tugs at the heartstrings at times.
Yeah, I
and,
cried, yeah.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
You cried and gave it a 7.
I'm not saying it. I'm just like that's totally fine. But like, I feel like Jaden's rule for crying is like 5 stars, and your rule for crying is a 7.
No, I'm a bit of a bitch nowadays. I cry quite often.
Oh, okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, no, that's awesome. See, so how can you cry and give it a 7? I'm not judging. I'm just trying to understand.
I don't know. I probably should give it an 8. Yeah, you're right.
Don't suppress your emotions.
But it's a feel-good film, so I can't give it an 8, as you said. Actually.
Okay. Right, that's what it is. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, no, but I mean, hey, you cried. I don't need to justify it to you. Yeah, it's very heartfelt. It's very nice. Very good movie. I enjoyed it a lot. All right, that's it. Is it time to pick Jaden? Now, Jaden, a lot of this is just really mid stuff.
Yeah.
So
roll out Transformers.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm leaning towards No Way
Home. I was leaning toward that too, to be honest.
Okay.
I'd like to do 2 though as well, since you guys did 2. So I don't know, Liam, do you want to pick
all right, yeah, what's Fitzy thinking?
Yeah, okay. No Way Home. Sure.
I guess I'll get a free choice for the second one, I guess.
Yeah.
No Way Home is like, I rewatched it once. Well, I mean, rewatched. I never finished rewatching it. I think I was rewatching it on Amazon Prime, and I stopped one night, and then it got taken off, so I never finished it. I thought, now's a good time to like actually rewatch it in full properly. It's still a film I'm so confused about, because like there's so many things. Because I remember that being the vibe of like our like little special episode.
It was.
I feel, and you still don't have a rating on it, actually.
I've never seen it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just like, because like there's so many things I love about it, and when I think about it in general, I'm like, okay, this is like a really strong kind of Spider-Man film. But then if I think about any kind of specific moment, I'm like, not any specific moment, but like when I start thinking about like kind of specific moments, I'm like, well, that doesn't play to the strongest. That's not the strongest. This kind of feels like audience bait. And I like when I actually think about most of the play-by-plays, I'm like, it starts dwindling in my mind. But then when watching it, like that's not my feeling. Like when I'm watching it, I'm like, this, like I love this. And then, but then like, I don't know, it's still like, I was hoping that this would like, iron out for me, good or bad, weak, strong, whatever. But it kind of left me in the same place of like, maybe the moments I love and maybe that general feeling is just kind of enough to me. And then anything, like when I just think about it, it's just gonna have to be a fuck it. It's just, it is what it is. I did bump it up to 7 over the 6. So like, I think the 6 is disingenuous. But yeah, it's still a bit confusing in my mind.
Yeah.
Still stronger than any of the Toby films.
Oh yeah.
So,
come on.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I've never rewatched it, and I was hoping rewatching it would bring me some clarity, but it sounds like it might not.
Well, I think I was watching the extended version on Prime. I think there is like another like an additional 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But whereas this rewatch is just like the regular theatrical cut. So I wonder if those 20 minutes would help.
I don't know. Yeah, I got no idea what's even in them, but
yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, I get what you mean. Like, it is a very enjoyable movie. If it, in a way, does it kind of feel like a trick? like as you're watching it, the goal is just to like make you like eat it up as you're watching it. But then, like you look back and you go, "Hang on, what did I just watch?"
Yeah, yes, big time. But then I'm like, but why do I have an issue with that? Because I did enjoy it,
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So like that's kind of where I'm at with it. Nah, fuck it. I'll leave it there. I don't need to be greedy.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. No question of the week segment this week, but it will return next week because the specific question we'll be asking you for next week's episode is, what are your most anticipated upcoming movies and TV shows of 2025? Let us know. I want to look back what our answers were last year. I don't even know. Like, would it have been like, I mean, I guess June.
Mm.
I don't really know what else, to be honest. But yeah,
I know some of my answers from a couple of years ago. Like I think like in terms of like what I said I'm most anticipated for, I still haven't seen.
Like what?
I'm pretty sure I answered Del Toro's Pinocchio, which I still haven't seen.
And I don't know why that was your answer in the first place.
Because it's a Del Toro film. And there was I think it would have been 22, maybe 23 as well. But I can't even remember. It was this Japanese film by the director of A Family, and I was like, okay, if he's doing it, then I want to watch it. And then I just still haven't got around to it.
So, be careful what you choose because it might be a curse. We'll see. Okay, that's it for this week's episode. Fitzy, what are we doing next week?
I don't actually know what we're doing next week.
Well, it was up in the air for a hot minute, but now I think it's cemented as returning to our favourite Tom Cruise franchise.
Yes. The best Mission Impossible. Also Mission Impossible 2. Directed by John Woo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, John Woo. Yeah, get hyped, dude. Am I going to have to defend this? I mean, I rewatched it and didn't even like it that much, but hey, I'll try and defend it. Fuck it.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
I liked the movie as a kid, so it must be a good movie. Yeah. I
feel like this, even if you don't love it overall, I feel like regardless, without you even trying, there's going to be a few scenes where you're going to be vehemently defending. I don't know.
Oh yeah. The beach scene is amazing. I tried to reenact that with my friend. Did I tell you guys that? That was like the scene that I tried to, when he like flips up the spoilers, but when he flips up the gun with his foot. I tried to do that with like a Nerf gun at my friend's house. We were...
You fucking break your toe?
No. Like, what? No, I didn't kick it. My foot was already on it. You like slide. Oh, don't worry about it.
Oh, you slide. Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I'll tell you about the choreography after the show
next week.
Patreon.
I don't remember a beach scene. Like, are you talking towards the end? Or?
Yeah. It's like the final.
I don't know the scene either. But...
Well, like after the motorbikes, or
yeah. I mean, we can talk about it next week. Yeah.
Okay. So to me, that sounds like flicking a Nerf gun with your foot up. Like I would be concerned I'm going to like fucking hit myself in the jaw or something.
Yeah, you just have to have like what do you call it? Coordination,
Yeah, I don't have that. No chance, dude.
Yeah, but I'm hyped for Mission Impossible 2, to be honest.
I'm not. This is the one we've got to get through. No. Once we're through this, though, I'm happy as Larry after that. But it's fine. It has to be done. All right. I appreciate Liam and Jaden for joining me as always. Have a great rest of your week, everyone, and goodbye.